Hello, hello. Welcome, YouTube. Let's get Instagram on. Got a little more light today in this room for whatever reason. With the shades closed, that is. Hello, welcome, clutter-free family. Welcome. Oh, it's so much easier to use these because anyone else stare at a screen too long and it's just like they start to merge. And you start seeing you're nearsighted, and also, well, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's hard to see near and far when you're like switching from offline life to online life. And I feel like that's going to be more and more of a problem for people. Welcome. Come on in. Thanks for joining me. Clarity Hotline. Okay, so let's start with our deep breath. Clearly, you see that I'm very unprepared right now. I don't even have my window open of the questions for the day. Let me get my online life together. Okay, so I just had to kind of, oh man, so many things. I just wanted to be on live with you. I just did not set myself up. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me here. Okay, so the questions for the day before we get into our breathing exercise and calm and center and be present here to get our clarity. So the cells are, I'm getting a lot of questions still on ADHD, which let's pump our brakes here because I don't know a lot, but a lot of people are asking about ADHD. I've not done all the research. I still want to, and I think it's a follow-up to a couple lives that I've had. So it's fair. No blame, no fault. Because I'm interested in anything mental health. And so ADHD is like, it's don't you see it everywhere? It's like these self-proclaiming ADHD diagnosed women on my feed talking about, like, now I get it, right? And now I get my childhood and, why things were like they were. And, so, there's one kind of aspect of it kind of being in our face. And then also it just seems like, more and more people are being diagnosed with it. And then it's kind of the question of, is it just that we have more of them, or we're just being aware of it and diagnosing for it more steadily and readily? And it's making it seem like it's more prevalent. Who cares? If you want to know about it, that's your cue to look for the information, right? That's what I say. So I'm looking into the information. I'm up for it. I'm interested in it for a lot of reasons. So I'll get back to some of those ADHD questions when I've had a chance to kind of process and kind of look into. There's so many authors and people who talk about it, and I think it is like important to know because, like I said on my last live, what is this idea of neurodivergence or neurotypical? Like, really? Are we just pigeonholing ourselves in yet another game of words? It's like, or war of words. Like, you just always have to have some separatist view, And I think it's in an effort, though, to identify and prescribe. So I get it. You need to isolate the issues so that you know kind of what you're working on at one point. It's not the only thing. It doesn't make you who you are. If you have ADHD, it doesn't make you who you are. You don't have to identify with that. I think where the growth comes and where the opportunity is, oh, well, how do I like to learn? Let's learn about that. And let's discover more about myself in that way so that I can prosper. So anyway, and then another question was, do you ever do affiliate sales? So I think that's a good one. So let's start there because I have a couple of announcements too. All right, so let's take a big deep breath in and out. In and out. Try to extend your exhale longer than your inhale. Be intentional about it. Be purposeful. In and out. You'll just notice like, whoa, I feel 10 pounds lighter. The weight on my shoulders is gone. The head fog has cleared just doing that a couple times. Whoa, who would have thunk that the breath is so powerful? So a couple more inhales, as many as you need to be present and be here, whether you're with me live or watching the replay. Thanks again for coming on. All right, so I want to I think I have a little pep talk in me today, okay? Because I just got off of a call with a mom, and I'm working on a research project. It's going to inform some of my work. And I don't want to say what yet, but I will, keep you posted, of course. But anywho, as I'm chatting with her and we're having such a good conversation, of course, something lights her up and she starts talking about it. And it's just like good stuff, And of course, my business ears perk up and I'm thinking, yeah, you should go after that, And so what I think it enlightened me to is how many of us moms have an idea inside of us and wants to be birthed. We just either put it off, don't know how, because we don't know where to start, right? And if all those things kind of like convolute your view, then of course you're not going to start that business, start that, and don't even call it a business. Maybe it's just something you're interested in doing. So start there, right? Anywho, I just have to tell you that there is room enough in this world for everyone's voice. And this is the pep talk portion. You have inside of you something so unique and magical and powerful and necessary for this world to hear, that message that wants to get out, that's eating you alive, that's waking you up 2 a.m. in the morning with this burning idea. That is purpose. That is purpose. And we can deny all we want. We can refuse all we want. The downloads that want to come that support us realizing that purpose or that initiative or that project or, that vocation. I don't know, throwing it out there. And that would mean a big pivot, right? That would mean a big rock in the boat. What does that even do to my life? And how can I take that on and get another thing as a mom? Girl, there is ways to do it. I'm just saying to encourage you to pursue it. Okay. And I mean, this is what I was talking about in my purpose challenge a couple weeks ago. And it's like, you have a purpose. You just need the clarity around what it means to you, what you want it to mean to you. How does it serve your ultimate fulfillment? How do you want to live the rest of your days doing work you love in the world in a way that feels good? And a lot of us, struggle with finding what that is and how to do that. But it's possible and you can do it. And so I just want to encourage you to do it. Anywho, it really does, as I talk to these moms, and as you know, I since having my kids, I've pivoted in my business. There's a video coming out next week it went out this week. About pivoting. So pivoting as a mom in your business. Maybe you're pivoting into a new direction in your business. You're rebranding the business. You're rebranding the business, meaning you've made a pivot in what you want to talk about. So the messaging is going to be different and the audience is going to be different. It's really that nuanced. You're starting from scratch. And in that way, in the delivery of your message, of your new message, because that's what happened to me. After I had my kids, I've been so drawn and thrown into this world of motherhood. And I couldn't be more delighted with this path. that that I'm interested in learning what's happening to me, what's happening to my fellow mom, what's happening to us, and how, as entrepreneurs or working women, are we balancing the two, and how are we doing? How's it feel? And can it feel better? That's where I'm at. And that immediately, because I'm not a beginner at business. I'm not a beginner at this level of awareness and thought about, tuning into myself and tapping into what's going on, so that I could come into some clarity, some insight around, okay, well, let's navigate this new terrain. What do I need? Who do I need to ask for help? That's not always been there, right? Because it's like this new phase of life, this new identity emerging, all that's very convoluted. And there's more women suffering with that element of confusion, and that state of just like brain fog. And I want to do this thing. I don't know how to do this thing. I don't have the time to do this thing. And I have people who rely on me for how things were and have been, or it's a brand new territory, and there's not people. Yeah, there are people relying on me to show up as I have been, and now I'm different. And so, what does that identity shift do to my work and my availability to work and my availability to my family? If I'm available here, I'm not available there. So, what does that do? So, all of these kind of conversations came into my mind first. I had a conversation with me, and now being on the other side of that, I'm like, oh man, I wish I knew. I wish I knew this X, Y, and Z. And just like any new idea, that's how it starts. It's like, well, this worked for me, and it could work for you. And if you're interested in hearing that from me, then I got something, a way that we can work together. That is your business plan. Oh my goodness, that's funny. Because it's true. But anyway, no, I want to start a group for moms that need to hear more of these pep talks, so that they could get open, and they get to be open and honest and raw and vulnerable with their thoughts that they're having in every moment, from the time they wake up to the time they crash in bed at night. Does it ever get lighter? Does it ever get easier? Absolutely. Especially when you recognize, the sooner you recognize where it's coming from and what it means and how it signifies for you what's most important right now in this season of life. I want us to be able to talk about those things and share emotions, share resources. If you guys know somebody and you live nearby, go to that store for that herb. Go to that person for that massage. Go to this for, mom's night out, and they watch your kid for you, and you get to do whatever you want, or day spa and they watch your kid, or go to yoga and they watch your kid, or, somebody at home can watch your kid, depending on schedules and work-life balance, right? All of that is happening on a daily basis. And so you just want to be around like-minded people, as a mom, so that there is opportunity to vent and brag and celebrate your wins, celebrate your new epiphanies, celebrate, the kids' milestones. There's a way to do that. And what I'm inspired to do in this group, and tell me, and I'm sharing this with you because it's not yet happened. It could be in the works if I had enough interest around it. Where the idea would be, in this forum environment, we would be able to kind of like answer a question, and an answer could be, or finish a sentence. It could be, every morning I wake up feeling like ... You fill in the sentence when you share. When you start that, and if you don't feel like sharing because that's not especially what you're working on right now, then that wouldn't be the prompt that you would enter into conversation around. But those rooms now have been created of people who want to talk about that And that's your resource. That's your go-to. That's your trusted safe space to feel out how you're feeling here so that change can be affected sooner, that peace could come about more quickly. And that, I don't know, this is all we, when we feel less alone, everything's easier. I mean, mic drop. We're done. We're done right now. We can end this live. Happy Clarity Hotline. See you next week. That what is untrue about that? When we feel less alone, everything's so much easier. I think part of like being a mom, the things that are hard are feeling underappreciated, alone, isolated, shamed, which means you don't want to be around anybody because you feel ashamed. Guilty, you don't want to be around anybody because you feel ashamed. Grieving because you lost somebody that you love and you just want to be alone and feel sad. And or, but then there's like the opposite times. So just because I was here yesterday doesn't mean I don't want to now be here jumping for joy today. And there needs to be a place for you to be able to exist in that. And back in the day, that was called moody, that you were moody. And what if we don't call it that and we instead call it, you're experiencing all the flows of life, all the joys, just think about it. If it sounds like something that is necessary, I'd love to hear in the comments if it is, in your opinion. And I could pull something like that together because I like that. Because I think with our close relationships, sometimes we can feel the judgment or the backlash of having been this mood one day, and now we're saying something entirely different. And it causes a roller coaster in those around us if we're kind of like flighty like that. It's not anything reliable, and mothers should be reliable, right? Family should feel reliable. Well, this safe space, you get to exist on all planes of emotion. And tomorrow you can also exist on all planes of emotion, and we still love you here. And there's no backlash, and we're not going to hold it against you or hold it over your head. In fact, we're going to celebrate the fact that, oh man, you did that nice. That was a nice toggle. That was a nice toggle. You did that really well. Yeah. So, what if that existed? Let me know if that is cool. Okay. So let's go to the first question of the day. Let's do this affiliate sales one. Do you ever do affiliate sales? So yeah, I mean, I think that was a genuine question. Do you ever do affiliate sales? Because maybe the question is around, should I do affiliate sales? And my answer would be, it depends. Because I've done affiliate sales for products that aligned with my core message and my brand. So yes, I've done affiliate sales, but I did, when I first started out in online marketing, there was a time when I was interested in how everyone else was making money, and affiliate commissions was the thing. Oh, go on ClickBank and find a product and just start promoting it with no attachment whatsoever to the outcome in my own life or having firsthand experience of what this product is and for and who and why. Just kind of like start promoting these things. And there were ways to do it, blogs and what have you. But anyway, I was interested in that only to pull in products that aligned with my mission, because I didn't want to get off course. If I'm already having a conversation about this bigger piece, and contextually these little affiliate things, these products fit in nicely and snugly into the continuity of my message, then I would bring it on for sure. But I also had my own products. And so the lines of distinction as far as what my brand was all about got blurred really quick. And so I just kind of pulled back on the affiliate stuff and just really went heavy on my own stuff. And I personally liked to live there. Now I could see what is cool about podcasting is that you can just have, sponsors, and they sponsor, and they have the interstitial ad in your podcast, and you're putting out things that are still branded with you, in that way. Like, you don't mind your brand um, being adjacent to this product, right? Because you know, like, and trust it enough to be like, okay, I don't mind being affiliated with them for the time being. And then, they pay me for it. And so that you put out your little ad. Well, and there's always, maybe some tie-in to the podcast host. Maybe it's their version of things. And that's typically if the brand wants you to kind of speak on that, like your own experience with it. And they'll give you free product and you could try it. And then you talk about it in the thing, or they'll just script it for you. And you don't really need to necessarily know about the results firsthand, but you like the results, right? You like what the potential is there, and so you don't mind putting it out there. And it's not any product you would create. It just kind of bolsters your platform in the marketplace, right? This being your platform, this being your message, this being your space in the marketplace. It's good. And so that's another thing. We don't want to feel alone, right? So we don't want to feel alone until we get these advertisers that really kind of bolster the message and get more out there. And the more money they make from ads, the more they can be doing what they love. And so it's really kind of a win-win. And all I need to do is film something for 5 minutes and put it on my podcast, or talk about it freely on my YouTube channel and weave it into my content. I'll do that, And so it gets attractive when you've got the resources to take on something like that. But notice, it's not happening in the beginning of a business. This is very much timely, right? When you get approached by other brands to promote their brands on your branded products, they're in space. This environment, right? They want in on your environment and your audience. Then it's easier, right? Because you can kind of like divvy out some of the stuff that needs to get done to be promoting that. And it's not taking you away from where you need to be on any given day in your business, working on your business. Then it's timely, right? To start to kind of pursue that route. But if you're not worried about your own brand and you just want to kind of, it's all about, hey, more the merrier, let's bring it on. And it's more of a news channel, then anything goes, right? And then that's different for that creator. And so, do you ever do affiliate sales? For me, yes. I do like, though, for me, my journey, my path is, and I'm an author, content creator, speaker, coach. That's what I do. And for me, as my start, when it comes to affiliate, I'd rather sell my own stuff first. Not only that, when you sell your own stuff before taking on affiliate sales, you are promoting other products for affiliate commissions. You learn the journey of a product or a service, everything from the creation of it, the blood, sweat, and tears that went into making it real and purchasable and out in the marketplace and branded and recognized on site. That is a big feat. And so you understand kind of the plight, the mission, the purpose of some of these brands on there. It's kind of like either they want money fast and they don't care. There's no attachment to the brand promotion itself, or they like it's more of a volume business than it is a like an IP business, or it's not so, which is intellectual property, which is my business, where you're putting out your own stuff, versus the news channel where it's kind of relaying just stories of life as a whole at large. Or an affiliate business, a business that drop shipping business, or something that it's just really about volume, not necessarily building a brand behind it. For somebody building a brand behind it, I like the idea of selling your own stuff first, to know the customer journey, to know lifetime value of things, what you put out there, to learn firsthand the ups and downs of putting something out there in the world. And I think, because all that still has to be, if you're building a brand, all that still has to be part of your business journey for you to be successful. That usually is in the beginning, but it's all part of the business building journey. And so you don't want to skip past that stuff just selling somebody else's product, unless your focus is just volume. In which case, try to be doing that because you need the cash, and then, still building a brand on the side if ultimately your goal is to build a brand. And there's a way to do that. Again, I mean, I'm talking to moms here, the busiest people on the planet. Aren't we the busiest people on the planet? Yeah. So it's like, if moms can do it, anyone can do it. Anywho, so I would say, yeah, affiliate sales, only if it fits in the direction of what you're promoting. And it's just kind of like this ancillary idea, this accompanying idea, right? So if you work on, let's say you're a mechanic and you promote, you're a mechanic, so you already have, repair and tires and not even, right? Because there's tire shops specifically just for tires. But we're just saying, somebody comes in and nothing is out of scope with regard to repairing this car, right? Back to its original, well, that's a body shop. That's after an accident. I'm getting tongue tied here. So you're a mechanic, just not like an auto repair shop. And so within the scope of that, there could be, the paint for the car, the tires, and the tools, the headlights, the windshield wipers, everything that really is part of the integrity of this car, that it needs to run, engine, oil, all of that is really on site. If you think about that, especially at a dealership, right, where they service their cars. Well, anyway, so there's that, right? But something that's kind of attendant or attached or accompanying would be something where it makes sense that the mechanic might promote this inside their waiting room. And for people who are just waiting for their cars, maybe it's an Uber service so they can get back home, so they've partnered with them, and this mechanic works, there's a discount with Uber. If you're getting your car done here or repaired here, worked on here, then you get a 50% discount on an Uber ride back and forth. I think a lot of dealerships will shuttle you back home. I don't know if they pick you up. I don't know how it is anymore, because I think a lot of people, it feels like a dying service, because a lot of people just get picked up, rides, take Uber, and they're never really putting the onus on the mechanic or on the dealership to get them somewhere, unless it's like a bigger body of work that they have to do, and then they give you a rental car. So anyway, all that stuff is kind of like part of the thought process for this mechanic. So he could pair up with the Uber, he could pair up with, delivery, because you don't have your car, you can get Grubhub or DoorDash, and you can have, or Uber Eats, right? Just two birds with one stone there. Get meal, food delivered at a discount, or, what else would be like a nice little partnership where there's affiliate commissions for the mechanic. I thought of one that was kind of cool. Something while you're in the waiting room, maybe like a way to watch a show you like, or because there's already Wi-Fi in there, I'm sure you can work if you needed to. Yeah, I don't know, just, stuff like that. See how the mind starts to think about what could be parallel to your business enough that it doesn't take you completely off course. You're actually in sync with this other business, and you two could kind of make a deal, a partnership. I think that's also that's kind of another evolution of affiliate sales, is being an affiliate, is moving up to partnerships where, or even, I mean, this is where investors come in, where it's like partnerships. They take a stake of ownership in the business, and you work that way. That's an investor. If you are a partner, then maybe you're just partnering on putting this one product out, and you each get 50-50 of the proceeds of sales. That's a partnership, right? So you're both bringing equal amounts of expertise, your zone of genius, and you're making kind of this bigger package. That's another thing too, which is cool, right? When two brands partner up, then you get the best of both worlds. And that's the same with like Shark Tank investors. If you want the intel of the investor and the money, the capital, and then paired with what you bring to the table, what and what of the customer journey, what of the costs of that, of acquisition, what all your numbers, right, that keep your business afloat. That stuff, right? And so you just need to partner with somebody who knows more of what you don't know. Or in the case of like coaching, if you partner, and this is a really good idea for people starting out, if you're just starting out in your coaching business, then you could get in with another coach who has maybe a particular specialty, and a particular audience, but you share an audience. But she's kind of he's bringing in like another angle of this kind of whole picture health. And this is what they do, and this is what you do. And so it's really nice that if you partnered up and you put out a product where, this person does this for you and this person does this for you or with you, and you get kind of the best of both worlds. And it's just for this value, versus getting them one off and it's this much, or getting me one off and it's this much. So, there's kind of like that bundling, discount kind of approach to when you're starting out. And that's borrowing other people's audience, which is like guest blogging. If you're starting in blogging, guest blogging is another way, is something that you should do in addition to your own blog, is guest blog. Because whenever you see you read a good article and you see the author's note and they're attached to their own dedicated blog, it's always really nice to then go read their dedicated blog, because you really like this article that they wrote and it felt very timely for you. And so, if they're really good at this, what else are they talking about? And are they selling something that I can buy and be part of their world? And so see how that whole like atmosphere gets created. And so this is all kind of in that idea, the affiliate idea of, borrowing other people's audiences, collaborating in order to have both people benefit, because this person's audience is getting the benefit of having this person come on and provide for them something that this person doesn't do. And so, that's edifying this person because they brought this person on. Like, hey, look who I brought. Look at this expert that I brought for you guys. And then that's great. And then vice versa, this person's audience then starts to know about this person, as they get more confident. And this is a starting person, get more confident in their message, and they're putting out more content and making their brand known, then this person benefits from that audience. So it's a win-win. And so I would say, look into all the different ways. It's not just one way or the other. There is no dictatorship when it comes to marketing, growing your business. There is no one size fits all, despite what some people are saying, what some people want to say. There isn't when it comes to you building a business that feels good, that feels on purpose for you. Your unique purpose is unlike anyone else's in the world. And I could say that and be absolutely confident. That's what I know for sure. Your business, birthed from your loins, your mind, your perspective, is unlike anything else anybody else would build. And that's what I was saying, the pep talk that I gave at the top of this call is something that I want everybody to know, every mom especially, to know that, if you've got this thing in you, it's going to be different than anyone else's. Now, can you have that idea and see somebody else who's doing it and you're just like, hey, I'm just going to support that person? Well, then that's a partnership. And so there is some joint there's the propulsion forward of this kind of uh, instant buy-in of vision, but doesn't mean it's all the same, right? Because at some point, this person is going to feel like, who joined this person's team, that, oh, I would probably do things a little bit differently. Same with marriage. It's like, I would probably do things a little bit differently than you're doing them. So, just think about that. Okay, so another question came in, and this one I don't know, but I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys know anything about microplastics? I don't know anything, but I have heard of, when I have the answer for this, Dana, I will talk about this. But right now, let me just put it out to everyone who's watching. Do you know anything about microplastics? I did hear once, though, that what feels and sounds damaging for our bodies is that in a year's time, and I'm sure it was an ad, in a year's time, we ingest the size of a credit card of plastic. Ooh, so I don't know. It's not all at once. I think it's, in our food, it's in and probably more our packaged foods, I would think, stuff that kind of goes through machines that are doing all sorts of work, that are tampered with and touched by different hands, different objectives, agendas, along the way, that plastic could kind of be putting in that. It's in our water. So that also, if water is introduced into this process of making this thing, then it's introduced at that point. And even with like fresh fruit, where less hands are part of it, touching it and getting it to you, then maybe it's in the water that they put into the soil. And the question is, should I worry about microplastics? And so I would say, I don't, like the worry thing. Why? I don't know. Let me speak from experience here. So why do we worry about things we just don't know? Why consume our time and our energy and our bandwidth with thoughts of worry? Me, as a recovering worrywart, can say that it's inevitably going to happen. We're going to worry. It can be a short time, though, that we sit in worry versus standing in action, taking action, putting it out to the universe that, I want more information on this. I'm concerned that we're taking in plastics. But there's businesses around this. So if you're an entrepreneur mom, then maybe you're on, I don't know, you're probably worried about your kids. Like, that's probably what it is. But we get inspired to keep our families healthy once we become parents, and it really, and ourselves healthy, right? Because we got the long haul, we've got the heavy load to lift, and we want them to have a good start in the world. And so we start wanting to get healthy, clean out all the processed foods, put more healthy things in the mix in our homes, have healthier snack options. And so I find myself, in Costco reading all the backs of everything. And I'm just like, all this is crap, but it's better than the alternative. And so I kind of got to, it's like a step up. Given my time constraints and everything I'm thinking about doing and worrying about and all that stuff, it's like, this can probably take something off my plate. One, the worry of him having a snack. Two, the worry of him having a healthy snack, or not the worry of him having a healthy snack, the incentive of giving him a healthy snack. And then knowing that, I'm doing the best I can. I want to know that I'm doing the best I can. And maybe like a healthier version of something, like, Annie's brand has made it their mission. A lot of moms you'll see start food brands, food companies, after they realize, look what's happening to all our food and our soil, and they come out with this great thing. Like Jennifer Garner has Once Upon a Farm, and so hers are the healthy fruit pouches. And she's got other lines, Honest Brand by Jessica Alba. And so, you kind of put into the world what you wish your kids could have. And so it started with you. And now, you want to share it with the world how any idea happens. So you might be on the verge of a business idea, Dana, having these microplastic questions. But it's a good question. I don't know. Not a lot is known yet. It doesn't seem like, because it's not a big enough conversation. But the early adopters researching this stuff and getting curious and interested in learning about this stuff, they're going to come back with a lot of data for us to devour and build from. And if you're in the health space, you probably know a lot more than I even know about. And you probably are saying, no, it's everywhere. Microplastics, everyone's talking about it. We'll see our scope of knowledge is different. And so I'm interested in what you know. And so see how that could be a business. You know more about microplastics than I know. And I would like to know it a lot faster, easier, and be able to implement what I learned about keeping my family safe and healthy. That's something I would spend money on. So let's talk about it. Tell me about your business. Tell me about your business, your microplastics, your toxin reducing business. Anyway, so that was another form of pep talk for you, entrepreneur moms. So yeah, I don't know. Dana, I can't really answer that question, me personally. But I will put it out to the community at large and see what everyone else knows about it, and see what comes back. Because I'm curious. It's just going to be something I don't focus on though until there's a little bit more of something to chew on out there. Because what do? We need the entrepreneurs, the founders, to come up with something about ridding us from microplastics. If it feels too big a job, like what am I going to do about the water they water my apple tree with? The apple that ultimately gets to me, not my apple tree, their apple tree that I eat, their apple. What am I going to do about that water? How can I get to the source, the manufacturer, the farmer? And that's all the lines in between. See how I had to really get to it? Or even, the person putting the seed in the soil, or choosing to, not do their work with full integrity, and they're choosing the water that they shouldn't be using to water the apple tree. And so how can I control that person? I can't control any of that. So until it's something within my control, I'm not going to worry about it. That's what I've learned. So should you worry about it? Unless, you're interested in doing something about it and learning the nuance and the ins and outs and the flow, start to finish, where you could find where you fit in. You don't have to be in every stage of ridding microplastics. You can be part of legislation, right? That mandates that companies who deliver food products go through this test to find if microplastics are in it before it's boxed and shipped, and put on shelves. So, where do you fit in all that? Do you want to open your own grocery store and make sure that no plastics get in there, right? And even when it comes to my best friend, one of my best friends, she worked with a company, and I won't say the name. I err on the side of confidentiality. But anyway, you'll know if you know her. She's worked with companies where or organizations where their mission is to rid the ocean of plastics. The company, the organization, and rid the ocean of plastics. And so that's important, right? Because what if that is the start of the farmer having the water with the plastics in it? It's the ocean getting the water into, right? And whoa, this big circle of life just happened. And now it's in my kid's mouth. And that's a problem for me. And I'm entering at the mom. I'm entering in the picture as the end consumer. There's so much that happened way before me. But yet in my journey, in my cycle, in my part of the cycle, my job is to reduce, reuse, recycle, right? Make sure that the plastic doesn't end up in the ocean. That's my job. That's what I can do. But that's been a campaign for years and years and years. And so hopefully, we're getting better, and I'm sure pollution has been reduced a lot, right, in the world. or at least in the areas where this is the campaign, the ongoing message of no littering. It goes to the oceans. The fish, I remember growing up, a big thing for us was in those 6 packs of soda, that plastic thing. I know companies, they don't use those anymore because they don't want it to kill the fish. The fish gets stuck in those things. And so whenever I put that on no one, but I just promise you that since the day that I learned, since the day that I learned that fish got stuck in those plastic things, I cut that every single time. I was inconvenienced, like it hardly and I don't care. I didn't care being inconvenienced. I wanted to protect the fish. And so, you have your why, and that is the fuel. That's all the fuel you need. That is enough. And it's going to be what drives your behavior. And notice how when I just got done finishing filming a YouTube video about simple shifts that you can make to your habits. And it is that granular. Thinking about, okay, I must have had a class where I was taught or not. Maybe maybe my mom was who told me. I don't honestly know. But let's say it was a class. Well, that teacher incorporated that message into her daily lecture and said, I'm going to make sure that the kids know not to litter. And, people come in and talk about the dangers of littering and what it does. And that was just the knowledge of it was enough to change my behavior. And so these little simple shifts, but see how we have to get educated first in order to know that it's even worth it, worth our time, worth our energy, worth our effort to do this thing, to change in this way so that we're affecting a bigger change, and we're affecting change in the world. Like our little ripple, our little pebble has created this ripple that now one less person is killing fish with their soda can plastic. And then the companies, the big manufacturers, they get behind it too, because they sat in a room and they were educated about fish and how, whoa, this is a big problem. You guys are putting out this much stuff. Think about this all littering the ocean. Eventually the landfill dumps into the ocean or gets out some way because it seeps into the sewer lines and whatever. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But see how you kind of start to, when you see the bigger system, this is why documentaries are so great in changing our behavior, is because we see the passion behind the person who wanted to discover this and brought us the information without us having to do any of the research, but gave us the education in a nutshell so that I was moved to change. That is how granular we need to get with our habit change. And so if you spend the time, if you go down the rabbit hole of microplastics, then you're going to get the education enough to start to move in changing your behavior and your lifestyles to bring in less plastic into your life, into your world, into your home. And that's enough. That's enough to cause that little ripple of change. And this is going to be my last and final pep talk for the day. And that little shift, that 1% change is important to the bigger 100% change down the line. And I know it feels small and slow going, maybe when you're just doing 1% change here and there, and then you can't even stick to that, right? You still buy cookies and you have one on occasion, but you don't eat the whole bag. The rest of the family eats the whole bag. That's a 1% change. You not eating the whole bag of cookies is a 1% change. You sharing that bag of cookies is a 1% change. You are not ingesting, digesting, putting into your body a whole bag of cookies. You're eating however many fewer cookies, a week. That's a 1% change. And that is going to slowly then give you the clarity behind, I feel better about having made that change because maybe this isn't polluting my body and clouding my memory. I'm able to think clearer and be more present. And then that little bit of awareness incentivizes a new little bit of curiosity and discovery and education that spawns a new rocket of desire to be, to have a change in this way. And then that is another 1% shift in your world. But give yourself time to, discover something new, get educated on it, read a little bit about the microplastics. What can you discover? What information is available online at the ready that you could just really kind of deep dive into and rabbit hole down and feel like, oh, I'm getting a lot of information that's resonating, and now I'm able to make the change, make the move, do the thing to get microplastics out of my house. That's kind of like where it starts. And so give yourself that time, give yourself time to also like, process what you learn, process it. Think about, don't just overhaul your pantry tomorrow after learning the thing. You got to still like process and plan, how am I going to kind of do this, and then present the information to your family, your roommates, the people in your life, so that they're along for the ride. They're bought in too on this change that you want to kind of implement in the home. Got to get their buy-in too, or else you're just in for an uphill battle and you just doing all the work, right? If they're not bought in on participating in this change with you, then that's just more work for you, because then you're fighting them on making the change, right? Eating the new food instead of the old food, and because they don't know why, and they like the old stuff. So why are you changing it? And then you've got to keep fighting that battle. Then you've got wasted food because they're not eating it. They're rebelling because they don't understand why you changed it in the first place. And then you've got more dishes to do because they're not bought in on the health of like doing chores too, and helping around the house. And see how it all is just like, okay, these are conversations that need to be had. And I need to take the time to have these conversations with the people that I love that share my space. Who would have thunk? Okay, let's wrap it up. I love you guys. Thank you, Clutter-Free family, for joining me. I see you guys. Thank you. Thank you. See you next week. Next Thursday for the next Clarity Hotline, Thursday, 12 noon Pacific. And that's that. So I just do want to plug again. If you weren't here in the beginning or whatever, just to remind you, jog your memory, that if you think a group for moms like that is essential, I would love to know. Put it in the comments. Let me know. Okay. So if you've watched to the end, you'll know what I'm talking about. And you will comment for me and let me know. And that'd be a great big help. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We out. Peace. All right, YouTube. Mwah, mwah, mwah. All my love. See you next week.